Well, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I like the Equalizer. Good one.
It was.
It was pretty fun.
It was sweet.
One of the many reasons why Denzel Washington is one of my favorite actors of all time is because he does, no matter what role he's doing, he can just, on and off, just like a switch, he can be really charming and likable, but he can also be, a tough, intimidating character. So, I mean, and you see both sides of that in this movie, and I think it worked really well with the character. I never watched the TV show. I didn't even know this was a remake of a TV show until, after the 5th time I saw the trailer, because we kept getting this trailer for every movie we went to. At one point, my dad ended up seeing a trailer where he's like, Micah, did you know that there was a show called Equalizer? It was kind of a fun show, and now that Denzel's going to be in a remake. I was like, yeah, I didn't know it was based on a show. So this review has no, we have no knowledge of the show at all. But I will say this, though. Knowing that it's a TV show, a Vigilante show, I'm guessing, because this is a Vigilante movie, it makes sense, though. Because the way how this movie is structured is not normal. Because it is a Vigilante thriller, but it's and there is a main plot going on, but once Denzel starts doing the Vigilante activity,
he helps.
You kind of see the main plot get put on hold, and a good part of the middle of the film is just him coming across a friend that's in trouble, coming across a friend that gets robbed, and him just helping all these people out. So it totally makes sense that this is based on a show. I'm guessing the show being every episode he helps somebody that's in trouble. Makes total sense. So Denzel is this former insert government agent position here.
In the plot thing, it says he was like Black Ops or something.
Something, yeah. Don't mess with him.
Military.
Yeah. And, he faked his death, and now he's living an easy, retired life. But at the same time, if push comes to shove, if someone, if he sees something wrong happening, he's going to step in, because he can. And so he befriends this underage prostitute who, of course, gets beat up by her Russian pimp, and he sees this, and he, gets angry, so he storms this guy's place, and within, 28 seconds, it's in the trailer, just slaughters everyone.
Five dudes. And
and it's pretty...
Takes them out.
This is a hard R, by the way, and it's awesome.
Oh.
But, so, turns out, though, this wasn't just a low-life pimp. Turns out this guy was connected to the Russian mob. So, Russian mob sends this insane sociopathic mercenary dude.
He's basically like an investigator.
Like their own private investigator.
But for the mob.
Mm-hmm. He sends him, I think this takes place in Boston. He sends him to Boston to find out what happened to this pimp. And of course, it's just a matter of time before he finds out it was Denzel. And as this happens, like we said, Denzel starts helping other people out, continues to kind of be a vigilante in the night, and, just clash heads. I have a soft spot for, hard R vigilante films, whether it be classic Death Wish with Charles Bronson or The Punisher, just as a character, but the movies and the comics. I've always loved reading the comics, and I actually do like both movies, but whether it be Charles Bronson and Death Wish, The Punisher, The Boondock Saints, I really like a good, solid vigilante flick. And Denzel was a great choice for this. I already forgot the name of the guy that plays the main villain who's trying to track him down, but he is so good as the villain.
He's a great villain.
He is so intimidating. He is just psychotic.
But he does one of the great things I loved about him was that he has this aura of being intense and stuff, but he never raises his voice or anything like that. He's very soft,
smooth,
very very well spoken.
He's well dressed, and there's one scene where he's confronting a prostitute for information, and she's sitting at a table and she's in tears, and you know where this is going. You knew she was. You knew he was gonna kill her, But you were kind of expecting maybe he's standing behind her as she's sitting. I was thinking okay,
he's walking around her and stuff. He's like, okay, is he gonna smash someone in
her
face? He's gonna slit her throat.
Exactly. He said would you like a glass of water? And she's like, okay. It's like, okay, so is he gonna smash over? No, he calmly pours water in the glass, gives it to her, and just very slowly. It was just so oddly done, but kind of creepy. Just slowly, wraps his arm around her, and then just slowly starts squeezing the life out of her, and it was so just it was just so creepy. And there's one part where he tries to get information out of an Irish gangster, and literally he knocks him down
to send a message that the Russian mob, because these Russian gangsters got killed. He has to send a message to the other mobs that the Russian mob is still here.
Yeah, exactly. And so the guy's man gets taken out, and he nails this guy to the ground, and he starts punching him, and you're like, all right, he's gonna punch him, and then he's gonna say something and leave, but he just keeps punching him and punching him, and it just goes on and on.
This dude,
and it gets to the point where
he's kicking him.
It gets to the point where he is yelling while he's just like, "Dog, dog!" And he just keeps going and going, and it's like, oh my God!
You're sitting there
and this is one of the first scenes we see with this guy, and it's like, holy crap! So
and I love he, of course, there's these corrupt Boston cops that are helping him.
Yeah.
And one of them is with him, and this other dude in the back took out the other guys, and he's just sitting there watching this guy beat the shit.
Which is right, because that guy is one of the killers from A Walk Among the Tombstones. So it's really odd seeing, within a matter of just a week, seeing this guy play this very creepy sociopathic killer in one movie, and then playing a corrupt yet very, at the knees of this villain, corrupt cop in this movie, and he's just scared to death of this Russian dude, But so, anyways, I love vigilante films, and this is a solid one. I will say this right now: this does not need to be 2.5 hours. I thought it kind of dragged on a little bit towards the end. Yeah, there was stuff. Him helping out other people, it was fun. That definitely wasn't necessary, I feel. It was nice and all, but it was fun to watch Denzel continue to beat the crap out of people, but it was just there just to show Denzel being a vigilante. It wasn't there. It didn't really have anything to do with the plot. The main plot. It didn't really have anything to do with characters for the most part.
I didn't feel like I was
yeah, it wasn't.
It didn't feel like.
It wasn't like Sabotage, where I was just like,
can this Transformers?
Yeah, where I was just like, can this please be over already? But I'm just saying, it doesn't need to be. It didn't have to be as long as it was. Overall, again, I still had a lot of fun with this.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that's going to turn people off, though, because if you're gonna, because it's just not the kind of movie that needs to have a 2.5 hour.
What you're saying is
it's not an epic.
Get the same point across without adding in all that.
There's it was just it doesn't. I feel like if you go far past the 2 hour mark, if it's 2.5 hours or 3 hours, that's pretty much the definition of an epic. And this is not an epic film. This is not an epic film. That's my point, though. If it goes to 2.5 hours or more, that is kind of the definition of an epic film, because there's so much that you can't just put in within a 2 hour time period, and that's why it's branched out. This is not an epic film by any means at all. So it just kind of at the end felt like they were just trying to throw all this stuff at you while also giving you this storyline. And while in the end it all worked out well, I'm just saying some of it was just did not need to be there. But again, this is just me nitpicking, because I really enjoyed the film.
I gotta say though, it paid off in the climax, because the climax is a horror film.
Yeah, the climax when Denzel has to face the last few bad guys, they're at his workplace, which is like a kind of a Menards, a Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's kind of store, and he shuts off all the lights, and he locks them in, and they're all scattered. So of course he picks them off one by one. But he's doing this total Jason Voorhees taking gardening tools and mechanical tools.
Like the way the first guy died.
He hangs a guy
with barbed wire. And then ties the other end to a bag of cement.
Yeah.
And then
and here's what was even better about it. When the guy is hanging, he's like, he gets hung up. He's hanging. He's facing Denzel directly. Denzel just stands there and without any emotion just watches this guy die. And it was just like, oh, okay.
And then
he takes, what was it? Some...
It was shears.
It was shears.
Like tree shears.
Long shears. Yeah, and stabs a guy through the neck. He drills a guy in the back of the head, like Driller Killer. Again, slasher film here. This is Driller Killer here. Drills a guy in the back of the head, like he's... Oh, it's over the top.
But awesome.
But awesome. It's fun. Denzel will kill you in this movie and not care. And it's cool.
During all this stuff where all this is happening and he's killing all these guys, he's showing absolutely no emotion.
Yeah. And what's cool is
just straight
when you
face,
see, some people may not like it in an action film when they build up a villain being just such a horrible villain and you hate him and you're just waiting for him to get what he or she deserves. And then when the good guy finally kills him, they just give him like a quick kill or something. It may feel kind of, maybe a bit like unsatisfying. Every death in this movie is satisfying because Denzel, the way how he kills the person and the way how he treats that person, it's like they're suffering and they're watching Denzel watch them suffer as they die, like almost.
And he doesn't care.
And he doesn't care. And it's like, and I know that sounds really sadistic, but as a viewer, when you're watching these terrible people that you just hate, it's really satisfying to watch Denzel kill these people. So, that's really all there is to it. It's a vigilante film. It's, there's not much else to say about it. There is some pretty cool camera work in there at certain points, especially with the villain.
There was some weird camera
There was some kind of stylish camera work with the villain. Like there's one part where the villain is sitting in a chair shirtless and you see all these like satanic tattoos all over him. And the camera does this really overhead shot. Like it starts like showing his back and then overheads and then goes all the way down. So now we're seeing him upside down. And he's like stretched out like this. And as this is happening, it's dissolving into a shot of Boston. So I almost wonder if it's some kind of symbolism of this guy with all these satanic tattoos like this, and he's like towering over Boston. I don't know. It was kind of a weird shot. But that, and there were some other moments where it was kind of stylishly done, and I didn't know if they did that just to be cool or if there was some sort of meaning toward it. Who knows? I enjoyed, solid director behind this film.
I enjoyed the first meeting between Denzel and the villain.
I loved it. When the first time they meet, it's so good because the villain pretends to be a cop, and he visits Denzel at his apartment. And he asks him. And
Denzel had covered his tracks like really well.
Yeah. Denzel. So the villain is pretending to be a cop, and he's asking Denzel questions. Denzel is pretending not to know anything, and what's funny is pretty much the moment the two start talking, like the moment they meet eye contact, they're putting on this act, but both of them know they're putting on an act. And even though they don't blatantly say it, they're both just calling each other out very subtly throughout this very quick conversation. Like, one of them is starting to ask one of them a question, the other one immediately answers it, and then just returns with something else. And it's really funny how it's done. And as this is happening, the villain just kind of starts to, like, leave. But as he's doing this, Denzel just keeps firing question after question, like, don't you want to give me a card? Aren't you a cop? How did you know about this? And he's just like and the villain's just walking away. And it's just, the dialogue between them was just really good. There was some really
they're calling each other and stuff. Mm-hmm. The banter, they're like very calmly, basically telling each other to go screw them.
Yeah, exactly. Like I loved it. Like there was some really clever dialogue. And
another thing that was really weird for me about a vigilante film, I don't think I ever heard Denzel swear once. Like everyone else is like swearing around him and stuff like that. He never swears.
But I think that's the point, though. I think is that he's this calm, peaceful man. But I like that, which is really funny. Because again, if you were to compare this to the last film that he did with this director, Training Day, which is a phenomenal film in my opinion, every sentence F-bomb, N-word dropped. Like every sentence. It's talk about polar opposite, which just goes to show how good Denzel is as an actor and how good he and this director are together. How they can do something, two movies that are completely different, and yet their chemistry in both are still just blooming, and they're just so good together. This is a great team up. So, and I'm glad that they waited quite a while, because it's been a while actually now since Training Day came out. And this isn't like a Johnny Depp Tim Burton thing where the two are just making movie after movie, and you're not getting tired of it. Like, oh, I'm tired of these two together. Like this was a really fun film to see these two come together again. Yeah,
and for me, I think another thing that really made me enjoy this movie a lot more, I don't feel like there was ever a point where, like, they tried to make it seem like it sometimes, but I don't think there was ever a point where Denzel was down. Like, he like, the villains had the upper hand over him, Yeah. He was always, like, on top, and he always knew what to do, and he was always,
What's interesting is, like, if you make a movie...
Like, even when they do the cliche of where they capture his friends or whatever, and you think that something's gonna happen...
We'll get to that in a moment, Yeah, what's funny is I was watching this movie, and I was like, okay, I kind of see where this is going as far as, like, development goes. It's kind of one of those movies where the main character themselves doesn't develop very much. They don't have that much of an arc.
I feel like they're already developed.
Exactly. It's more about the people around them and how they are changing their lives and how they are developing. You can see, a good example of that was Dredd. In the movie Dredd, Judge Dredd, he does not, for the most part, maybe a little bit, for the most part, he's not changing or developing throughout the film. It's the agent that's the rookie that's changing and developing throughout the film. And
I think in a way, Mama too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially she's never faced anybody like that before. Yeah. And this is not an action film, but another example would be a movie like Forrest Gump. A lot of people bring up Forrest Gump as an example of that because Forrest Gump is kind of an epic film, and in Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks is this mentally disabled person, and he doesn't change. He acts like he has this very innocent attitude throughout the entire film, and it never changes. But everybody he comes into contact with changes because of the positive, or in some cases, the not so positive influence or impact that he had on their lives. If that's not done well in a film, it really sucks. Because if it's not done well in a film, then that makes the main character, like, not good, like, not likable. Yeah, exactly. It makes a character kind of suck. But Denzel totally pulls it off in this film, and he's well written. And again, this is just nitpicking. Yeah, even though the structure of that gets a little distracted with him just randomly helping out other people, kind of towards in the middle of the film, it still overall works. And if anything, that just him helping out those other people goes to show how everyone's developing around Denzel's character. So there's really not much else to say. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. It was a really fun film. If you like Denzel, if you like, hard R action films, and if you're like me and you enjoy a good vigilante flick, yeah, it's really good. We can talk real quick about the hostage thing. Towards the end of the film, kind of the cliche happens of the villains kidnap people that are close to the hero, that seemed... Okay, I do like that they ended that very quickly. Like, it doesn't take long for that to get resolved.
Yeah.
But that felt weird almost because it was the only time in the film where the villain did something really stupid. Like, really stupid. Because this villain...
Well, I think they were underestimating him.
But that's so weird that he would underestimate him, since by this point, Denzel has done everything to F up his operations. And and he's always been one step ahead of them.
And this villain, even though he's crazy, this villain, he seems like a really smart guy.
He is smart. Yeah. So anyways, as I was saying, it just seems so out of place for that character because by this point, Denzel has done everything he can to make this difficult for the villain. And so this is what the villain does. He finds out some people that are close to Denzel. He gets some of his men to take them hostage at Denzel's work environment, at Denzel's workplace. And then he calls up Denzel, says, I got your friends, meet me here, otherwise they die. This is why it's stupid. Why is the villain not where the hostages are?
Yeah,
that is so out of place.
The villain who already knows that Denzel is smart and really good, has all these skills and stuff. What is stopping Denzel from just going to the place and freeing the hostages?
Because
the villain
nothing.
Is in a separate place.
There is nothing. There is no. It felt so out of character. And again, this doesn't ruin the film, but it does stick out in my opinion. Because I was like, that is just such a uncommonly stupid thing for a very smart villain to do. Mm-hmm. And I think it was just done just so, just so they can, have it all work out.
I feel like it could have worked out, though, with the villain just being there.
Yeah, really. It totally could have. And one other thing I would say that was unnecessary, shortly before the climax, this just felt so out of place with the rest of the film. One of the things I really liked about this movie is how down to earth it is, because while it has a lot of over-the-top moments, it still feels very human, I guess. I don't know what's the right word to put it.
Realistic?
I don't know if I want to say realistic, though, because it's not that realistic, but it just feels just down to earth to some extent. But Denzel finds out where a bunch of merchandise is for the Russian mob, and we literally cut to Denzel walking away from this ship that has all the merchandise, and the ship exploding. And it's in the trailer, he's walking away, he's looking cool, and the explosion behind him. Oh my gosh, the explosion doesn't end, by the way, either. The explosion just...
chain reaction.
That just felt so... I don't know.
Sudden.
It felt so... It was so forced. Because it literally... I'm serious. It just happens out of nowhere. It starts out... A scene ends with Denzel on the computer figuring all this out, and then cut to him blowing this ship up. And then cut to the climax. It just felt so out of place. And I felt like it's just we need to have an explosion. We need Denzel to walk away from an explosion. He just felt so
No, that part was kind of it's cool and everything, but...
It just felt really out of place.
Yeah.
But, again, that's just nitpicks. Nothing major.
And then the cliche during the climax when... all the hostages are running away, and then there's the security guy. That's his friend, and then you kind of see him going out the door, and you kind of gives that look back, is he gonna go back? And then he goes out the door, so you think he's gone, but then he comes back, of course, and then he gets hurt.
I was kind of sitting there thinking, this guy. The first half of this movie, a subplot is dedicated to Denzel's friend wanting to become a security guard at this store, and Denzel's training him and helping him, motivating him, and there's all these problems that happen, and Denzel keeps helping him. Halfway through the movie, this guy becomes a security guard. Not only does a robbery happen at the store, and the only reason the robbery is a success, but later on Denzel ends up finding the guy and gets the money back. Not only did that happen, but this security guy also gets, him and other people taken as hostages towards him. I was kind of just thinking this guy... He really doesn't have what it takes to be a security guard.
He's the only security guard, though. There are other ones that are dressed exactly like him.
I know, but I'm just saying, since the whole first half of the movie, not the whole, but a subplot in the first half of the movie.
You think they would have put something in there to show that he's a security guard or something? You know what?
This guy, he really doesn't have what it takes. He's saying, I don't have what it takes. And Denzel's like, no, that's nonsense. You have what it takes. I'm going to help you, get what it takes. He really doesn't, though. He's really not a good security guard.
That's okay. That's not who we're there to see. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. He's not totally useless, though. He does help Denzel a couple moments towards the end. So he wasn't, he wasn't good night from the man with the golden gun.
Oh, gosh.
I'll give him that. Acting was good outside of the leads. Acting was fine. Liked the music. I like the song they play during the slasher montage.
That was a good song.
It fit really well. It made the pacing go really smooth. Yeah, so there were some good songs in there. Yeah, that's really all there is to say about it. Equalizer, solid film.
Solid film.
Yeah,
fun. Go
really
see
fun. Any new trailers? We got the John Wick movie again.
Yes.
Which I'm still really looking forward to seeing.
It's amazing.
Even if it's terrible, I don't give a crap.
I always forget, but there's that line that he says in the trailer.
He's like
super forced and super bad.
Yeah.
And it's so
throughout
amazing.
the trailer, like he's a former. Insert this here, and he comes back and he's killing those people. And so at the trailer, you hear all these people like, are you back? Are you back in the game?
Everyone's asking.
And so then, you see towards the end, Keanu Reeves is like, everyone has been asking me if I'm back. I'm pretty sure I'm back.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Keanu Reeves caging it up. I am looking forward to John Wick. I don't care if it's a piece of crap.
It's gonna be amazing.
It looks fun. What we got? We got a trailer that we haven't seen before. What's it called? It's a Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
The one about like the
newspaper. That looks really disturbing. Actually, it looks kind of creepy.
He looks creepy.
He looks he looks like a serial killer in this movie. Jake Gyllenhaal works for this news place, but he gets this special job where he
basically
is
gets to
undercover reporting
scenes of crimes before the police do.
Which that has been an issue. That is an issue sometimes. That's
instead of
there's a
helping
character
or anything like that,
he's just trying to get the story out. Yeah, that looks kind of interesting. We got
Interview.
Yeah, gosh, we got it. You know what?
The most offensive film of the year
is horribly offensive and as not good timing as this movie is. It does look funny. It really does look hilarious, and it doesn't look just like Seth Rogen and James Franco doing another stoner comedy. I'm sure that. I guarantee there will be stoner jokes in it, but this actually looks like a really funny comedy. So I actually am looking forward to that. I hope World War III doesn't start because of it.
It will.
Yeah, but
because of stupid comedy.
But what else do we? We got a new trailer. I knew this movie was coming up, but I hadn't seen a trailer for it until now, and I already forgot the name of it. But Michael Mann has a new movie coming out, and that looks. I love Michael Mann. Manhunter is one of my favorite films from the 80s.
Which one was that again?
I can't remember the lead's name in it, but it's about this it's like a terrorist that's hacking everything.
Oh, that's right, and it has Thor.
That's what it's Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, there we go.
I recognized the lead, but I couldn't know. Yeah, Chris Hemsworth's the lead. And I think he is he's an expert hacker. I think
he's in prison. He's in prison.
He's a prison hacker.
And so they're like, hey, if you help us get this guy, then we'll reduce your sentence or something like that.
And so that if I just saw the trailer, I probably thought okay, maybe it'll be all right. But the trailer looks fine. But because Michael Mann's directing it, that really gives me high hopes because I love his style.
And I like Chris Hemsworth.
I like Chris Hemsworth. He gets a lot of flack for camping up the Thor role, but I've seen him do other films, and I think he's a talented actor. He's a lot better.
As much as the new Red Dawn was crappy, I thought he was
It's not his fault.
No, of course not.
He's a better actor than his brother. Sorry, Liam. But yeah, so we got that, and then we got
Into the Woods again.
Into the Woods again. I'm already. That's the third time we've seen that trailer. I'm already tired of it. That was the third time.
No.
I'm already
counting this one. That's the fourth.
I'm so already tired of that. Thank God we did not get Dracula Untold. I'm so.
Well, we did get
a tiny little teaser, but it wasn't the Lord.
It was basically
trailer.
a thing saying just to tell you to go see it.
Yeah. What?
I swear we got one more.
We did. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, Gone Girl with Ben Affleck. That I've seen the trailer a couple times, and that actually.
The one about the
missing wife.
That was the chick from Jack Reacher.
Yeah. Yeah. That actually looks pretty. That's already gotten reviews and they're positive. It's already getting good reviews. So I'm looking forward. And I didn't even know it until this time when I saw the trailer and the credits. David Fincher's directing this. I had no idea David Fincher was directing this. He directed. You saw Zodiac, right? He directed that.
I love that.
He directed
another Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
He directed Fight Club, Seven. He's a really well-known director. He's very, very talented. I'm really looking now that I was looking forward to the film already because of the good reviews and the trailer got me hooked. But now that I know that Fincher, again, kind of like with Michael Mann, now that I know that David Fincher is directing this, now I'm really looking forward to it. This is gonna be good. So. I don't think we got anything else.
I think that's it.
So, yeah, Equalizer, fun movie. If trailer got your attention, definitely go check it out. So,
especially if you're a Denzel fan.
Yeah, if you're a Denzel fan.
If you liked him in Book of Eli, he's...
Well, if you like him in action films.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you like the director's work, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, so, thanks for watching.